So I'm going to do some math here. I wrote a script. I could write mini scripts for Concordia due to its mathematical nature. So I wrote this one, and I actually discovered something when you use the 103 days, comparing the Gregorian and the Hebrew calendar. So I'm going to say C for Concordia. I'm not going to explain how this works. I'm just going to show you how everything aligns. So what you want to do first is you type 103, which is positive, and we get July 26th. Now, what I'm going to have to do now is we're going to add 206 because you can't do immediately 412 because 412 would be technically a year for Concordia. So adding another 206, you'd get February 17th, 2031. But you also get 24 Shabbat on the Hebrew calendar. So it tells us the Hebrew date and it tells us the Gregorian date. And I like this feature. ChatGPT just added it. Instead of applying an additional offset, because there are offsets that you cannot access. Like you said, this adds together 206 plus 103 is 412. But if you type 412, you're going to get you're not going to get the right date. So it's good that this is here. And also allows you to do mirror images, mirror dates of each other. And that's where things also get interesting. So we get 24 Shabbat. And I didn't know this at the time, but that's actually a very important thing. And I found this out last night. So, what significance is 24 Shabbat? On ChatGPT here. You also get, for some reason I keep getting these errors attempting to reconnect. It doesn't work, but you gotta type in the same question. Zechariah's vision, this is in the Old Testament. The most direct significance comes from Zechariah 1:7, which opens with, on the 24th day of the 11th month, so this is directly in the Bible, which is the month Shavat, in the second year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to Zechariah. Darius I mentioned before. Second year of Darius. So that'd be in 2029. This is remember when I said a war would start in 2029? And it aligns with the ceasefire with Israel in the middle of the 7 years, which 3.5, which would be in 2029. So that all aligns. So in the second year, which would be 2030, well, I guess it depends on the Hebrew calendar. The second year of Darius came to Zechariah. This date, 24 Shabbat, is when the prophet received a pivotal series of visions. These visions included... Now, this could also happen. It's a mirror of each other. In 2030, this could happen. There's a note, there's a message, there's something, 24 Shabbat, that happens within Israel's government, which relates to 2031 of the following year that happens on the state. So, it aligns. These visions include the famous man riding a red horse among the myrtle trees, symbolizing God's watch over the nations and his plan to comfort Jerusalem after Babylonian exile. So 24 Shabbat marks the moment divine reassurance and restoration begins to be revealed. Because of that prophetic event, 24 Shabbat is seen as the day of awakening and renewal. It signifies the turning point from desolation towards divine rebuilding. and we're talking. This is the same language that I showed you with Daniel's prophecy of chapter 9, verse 25, and chapter 9, verse 27. You know, with the middle of the sevens, middle of 7. Kabbalistically, Shabbat is not to be confused with Shabbat. Shabbat is associated with the flow of sap in trees, the hidden life beginning to rise again before the visible spring, which spring is in April 14th, which is also on my calendar. So it's interesting how all this connects to each other. Thus, 24 Shabbat can represent the stirring of hidden protection. Now, remember that this stuff existed, this date existed before the Gregorian calendar existed. 3,760 years to be precise. So, 2030 aligns with the year of 1 AD in the, well, it'd be one, well, it'd be just be one, but on the Gregorian calendar, that'd be 33 AD. There's a 33-day offset. Coming from somewhere, I don't know where that 33, it could be coming from the Julian, but what I know is it is aligned. 2030, whether it's 2030, 33 AD, 33,760 BCE, it's all the same year. Year one of Gregorian, whether you call that 80, it's the same year. Although I've never heard anyone say year one of the Gregorian. But it would make sense that it was, which would equate to 2030. It's the mirror image is 2030. We could test that, but so there's would that be an offset of 1,730? 1730, year 1730? Yeah. Wait, let me see. Oh, there's only some math right here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, ChatGPT. So, thus, 24 Shabbat can represent the stirring of hidden potential or hope emerging after dormancy. In Shabbat tradition, 24 Shabbat 5748, or February 11th, 1988, the anniversary is passing of, I'm guessing that is Rabbet. Yeah, the wife of a rabbi. I cannot pronounce that. Chea Mushka Shinnerson? I don't know. Wife of the Lubavitcher Reb, which would be a rabbi. That makes the date especially significant within Shabbat communities, often observed with gatherings and charitable acts in her memory. So 24 Shabbat aligns with February 17th in 2031, which would also be February 18th. And this is just purely all mathematical. Where's my terminal at? Okay, so now we're going to do Gregorian offset And to do this, you're going to have to do 033, 04, wait, yeah, 04, 14. And you get April 14th, 733, 27 Nisan. Now it says apply additional offsets. So if we put in this number again, but this time I'm doing positives, that would be 729, 389. So these are the days that pass. Interestingly enough, wait, hang on. No, I thought I saw something, but I didn't. So if we do that again, 729, 389, then we go above outer range of that. So it's all mirrored together. It's the same date. April 14th will always be April 14th in that. I want to see something. What if we did minus something like 70? It should be the same, I think. So let's add that date. They're different. Hang on. Let me do that again. Let me do that again. What happens if we subtract May 3rd, then we're going to add it. We're going to add that day together. Gets us back to April 14th. But then we're going to add it again. We're going to add it again, and we get March 26th. They're not the same day. But April 14th is always going to be on the same day. That's interesting. That's interesting. So the crucifixion of Jesus, according to all the math, would be on 11 Nisan, would be on 27 Nisan, 3793. Let's Google this and see if we have any relevance. I'm going to use ChatGPT. What is the significance of April 19th CE or April 3rd 33 CE? It lines on the Julian. But it says April 19th on the Gregorian, but we saw the math. It's April 14th on the Gregorian. Right? So the math tells us the drifts and all that. So something happened. Now we know that the Gregorian lost 11 days. But something else must have happened for it to be April 19th. Although it's not saying year 1 here. So it could be a 33-year offset. That's also possible. I mentioned that before. Alright. 27 Nisan lands within Passover week. Many Christian chronologists identify Friday, 14th Nisan, April 3rd, 33 Julian as a likely date as the crucifixion of Jesus. Therefore, 27 Nisan, 3793 would be 13 days later, placing it after Passover in the same year. Still within the early of the first followers. But my math says all the alignments of the calendar say that it was done on the 27th. It is April 3rd on the Julian, but it's not. And you could say that's the Nisan of 14. It's the same date. It's the same date. It's the same date because it aligns to Friday 14th Nisan. Hang on, what day is? April 14, 2030 is on a Sunday. Right, because of Palm Sunday. Sorry guys, I just woke up and I want to do these videos on a Monday. So it's Monday morning, it's 9:30 almost, and I'm trying to get this video recorded. So, yeah. It's not itself cited as a specific gospel event, but it lies in the same historically pivotal month. So it's using the Julian, and it's confirming the Julian date. So 13 days earlier would be, that's on the Julian. So when we look at the math here, this math is April 1433, but that includes the Gregorian date and the Hebrew date, which would say April 3rd. What would it say? April 3rd, 33 CE on the Julian. We just don't have that right here, but it would say that. Separate from the ancient chronology, 27 Nisan, I think it's Nisan, I think that's how you say that, has enormous modern meaning. It is Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. Interesting. In the state of Israel and worldwide Jewish communities. The date was chosen by Israel's, I don't know how to say it, in 1951 because it falls between Passover, symbol of freedom, and Yom HaZikaron. I do not know how to say these names, guys. I'm sorry. Israel's Memorial on Independence Days. It honors the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust and the heroism of the ghetto fighters. Most famously, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, which began in April 1943, the 15th Nisan 5703, right around Passover. Thus, 27 Nisan 3793 AM shares its calendar signature, same Hebrew day month, with Yom HaShoah each year. It's interesting that's Holocaust Remembrance Day. And that's the same day we determined that Jesus was crucified on that day. And Jesus, according to teachings, he was a Jew. So it's interesting. So he represents the Jews that died in a way, in a mirrored way. Interesting how that coincides. I didn't say coincidence. I'm really the circumstantial. I just said coincide because it falls together. I'm not saying why, when, how, what. I'm just saying they go together. They coincide. Within the time frame traditionally associated with the Passion events, spring of 33 CE, modern annual day of remembrance for Holocaust victims, spiritual theme from destruction to rebirth, both in early Judea's upheaval and in modern Jewish renewal. Approximately Gregorian, April 1933 CE. But we did the math and we got April 14th CE. And that's just looking at the dates. It's not doing funky leap year math. It's going by the exact numbers. You're going by days. And whatever those days align to with the Gregorian or Julian or Hebrew calendars, it's just going through them. So it's not doing its own leap years, or leap days, leap seconds. It's not doing any of that. It's just going by days. It's even, you guys don't see it here, but it's doing that by removing its own year. The year itself is arbitrary. So it's not even going by 9,550. It's just going by those days. Which makes it very precise. So it can go infinitely this way, infinitely that way. Which is, no calendar has been able to do. It can't go infinite directions. So it's very interesting. So, yeah, that's the math. So let's look at that again. 0033. You have to put in the double zeros. You can't just use 33. 0414. It's a Gregorian date. That's the Gregorian date. That's it. That's negative 729, 389 days from now, which is relative to April 14, 2030. And if we will use this, we'll always end up on April 14th. So it aligns perfectly. And that's 27 Nisan and 3793. Well, yeah, because 11 days from April 14th would be April. I don't know where it's getting April 19th from. But if we were to add the Julian calendar to this, it would say April 3rd. We could try to see that on which ChatGPT should be able to do the math. It's a little advanced, but I think it can figure it out. So this Concordia day is negative. It's like seconds for Unix, but it's for days. I know, I just threw that out there. Unix. We'll talk about that in a future video. It might not be the next one, but we'll talk about Unix and how this would work with Unix. So it should say April 3rd, 33 CE on the Julian, if this is doing things right. If it understands the problem, the equation. It's taking a while. I know that's a lot for ChatGPT. It is a lot. April 14th goes to April 16th, Julian. No, because it would be 13. No. It would be before. It would be before. Well. This is looking at it from. That would be true. Because a Gregorian would have. Before the 11th time. The 11th day offset. The Gregorian would be 2 days before the Julian. So after you account for the 11th day offset, you would get the 13-day difference, which would happen with Gregorian happening after the Julian. But as you can see here, the Julian date is 2 days after the Gregorian. So the math is not right. Quick check. In year 33, the Julian calendar runs 2 days behind the Gregorian. Or ahead. It is depending on how you do the math. Your Concordia offset lands on 3304-14 Gregorian. Adding the 2-day offset gives us 3304-16 Julian. Yeah, but accounting for the 11th day difference that we know today, it would be April 3rd of 33, year 33, let's say. Not AD, but 33. So, notice it doesn't say AD here. But yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the same. It would be April 3rd, 33 AD. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. It was 30 minutes to do this. We went to the biblical. If you want to go look at the Bible verse again, it's Zechariah. I think that's how you spell that. Let me use the. I wonder what it says in the NIV. Let's look at the NIV. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 7 in the NIV. On the 24th day of the 11th month, the month of Shabbat. Is there a thing as a Shabbat? I noticed. Hang on. I was confusing that with the word Sabbath. But isn't Shabbat a real thing? Shabbat meaning strike. So Shabbat or Shabbat? Earlier in this video I said don't confuse with Shabbat, but I meant to say Sabbath. I remember watching something like The Chosen. I watched The Chosen, and they kept saying Shabbat. Is it supposed to be Shabbat? I don't know. No, I don't know what to do with that information. But anyways, it said month of Shabbat before it said Shabbat, so I thought Shabbat was a different thing. In the second year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Sibbecai, son of Berechiah, the son of Edu. Believe that's Edu. So yeah, what does it say in the? What does it say in the NKJV? Because like I said before in the previous video, the KJV is harder to read. So it says in the NKJV, the New King James Version, on the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Shabbat. Didn't that just say Shabbat earlier? Either way. In the second year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to Zechariah, Berechiah, the son of Edu, the prophet, saying, what does it say? Let's do that. Let's do that. Because now you open the door. You said saying, so now we got to end it. I saw by night and behold a man riding on a red horse, and it stood among the myrtle trees in the hollow, and behind him were horses, red, sore, and white. Let's define sorrel. A European plant of the dog family, or a horse with a light reddish brown coat, brown color. Now I'm curious, what is verses 9 through 10? Zechariah chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. Then I said, my Lord, what are these? So the angel who talked with me said to me, I will show you what they are. And the man who stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are the ones whom the Lord has sent to walk to and fro throughout the earth. Interesting. I'm not familiar with this. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. So if you guys want to read the Bible and read further, you can. I mean, I'm kind of interested in doing it right here, but I'll let you guys do that. So it's been 30 minutes already. I'll end it here, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.